Hey, welcome back to another preview with Immortal Team Rubicon. We kind of been off the grid for a little while just due to scheduling and whatnot, and we're back to another unboxing, except we're going to do something a little bit different. I figured because I see a lot of people who struggle, both new and veteran alike, when it comes to building SEAL teams. And with the release weekend just around the corner, tomorrow, so I'm going to take the two cases that I purchased of Uncanny X-Men, go through them two boosters at a time, and help you build what should be the ideal sealed pool, in my opinion, for those two boosters. So let's get started. So starting off, we have quite the shit show. We got a super rare, but in my opinion, it's a super rare you really don't want to pull. Also, I'm going to start off by saying, due to my team captain, I have a little bit of bias towards building theme teams if I can. So you might have seen a better team I could have built, and please bring it up in the comments. I love hearing feedback about how would you build these teams differently. If my editing skills can manage it, I'll try and label them time coded 1 through 20, as there are 40 boosters here, and will be 20 different possible sealed pools. Starting off, you might notice Cameron Hodge. We're going to set him aside. Honestly, he's really slow of a character. His lacking of movement attack on his top dial really hurts him. I do find the super senses and free regen when he's pushed kind of nice, but overall, I would just avoid him. He still can get outwitted, although outwit isn't very prevalent in this set, and that's something I will definitely push in our teams very heavily. But for this pool, we're just going to set him aside. Looking, we might have a possible theme team right off the bat. This set really does enforce Marauders, X-Men, and if you're lucky enough, all new X-Men teams. You might be able to pull off Freedom Force. I haven't seen it done really well. You really have to get truly exceptional pulls to make it work, and I just don't see it happening all that commonly. So, if we try to go for X-Men, I definitely suggest starting off with the rare Magneto. I pulled him in my first sealed the other week, did fairly well with him. Carriers and characters with improved movement, such as flyers, are also a rarity in this set. So when you get one, you would be in good best interest to actually play him. So that puts us at 90 points, leaving us 210 left. We are presented with the uncommon Wolverine, but that 115 point value really is going to make it truly awkward to fit 95 points of characters left, easily breaking our theme. Although the more I look at it, I think we're just going to have to put the kibosh on the theme itself. Because if we use our other three X-Men available, Wolverine, Colossus, and Nightcrawler, that puts us at 240. So we're left with 60 points. With theme teams, I would say it's alright, probably leaving yourself a 30-point gap. But in this case, we're well past that 30-point gap. Now, mind you, this is for named theme teams because of the probability controls you get through them. I would not suggest doing this for generics. Cutting yourself too short, like there's a good chance you could get out action or just steamrolled if your opponent has enough of a powerhouse of a team. So I think we're gonna have to put the kibosh on the theme team. Or if we do Wolverine, that puts us at 205. Yep, and just throwing on one puts us at 265, which not stellar. So I think what we're gonna do is gonna pull all that back. We're gonna still use Magneto. Between his running shot, his TK, his flight, his special power to give out ESD to another friendly, he's too good to pass up on. So I think we're gonna go for the breaking the theme, and we'll try with this little guy, the all new X-Men Cyclops. Very good. Sadly, all those guys break theme, but who cares at this point? That puts us at 190, leaving us with 110 points to go. And I think it's just easiest to flesh this out by choosing 2 over 50-point X-Men. I would go with, this is a little bit of bias, but Wolverine and Colossus. Colossus, I think, is one of the best commons you can pull in this set for 50 points, along with Storm. Nightcrawler I'm not overly impressed with. He does have his awesome power to warp to any place within 4 and then make an attack for free, but it does require line of fire, and one of the maps has a large prevalence of blocking terrain, so I think he's not as great in this sealed scenario as other 50-point X-Men are. So he's kind of at the bottom for me, but I think you have a solid 190-point team there. Not theme, but just a solid team, period. And I think that's how we're going to play out this first sealed. Again, you kind of got the bad luck in pulling Cameron Hodge, a super rare you definitely don't want to get with all the others you possibly could get. Moving on to our second pool. So we got the Nightcrawler I do like playing, the rare Nightcrawler, because of what I talked about earlier of our lack of solid carry pieces, and he is definitely that. Now, first of all, the first figure that screams to me is the rare Cyclops. Penetrating Psychic Blast top dial is something you don't see very common, and his amazing leadership in which he can take off a token that shares a keyword with him as long as it's within his range, which is 8. So as long as you keep a character a decent distance from him, there's a chance you can take a token off of him. And if my interpretation of this is correct, they don't even have to be a lower point value. They just have to a friendly character that shares a keyword with him, so any friendly X-Men. So it puts us at 85, leaving us with 215 points to work with. I don't think we'll be able to make a theme team here, just due to the fact that our X-Men are limited to 4 characters, and that is nowhere near 300 points and below that 30-point threshold I told you to stay mindful of when you building theme teams, named theme teams. So I just suggest looking at the good characters at this point. We have Vanisher, an amazing taxi in this set. John Greycrow, another leadership piece that also has the chance to get either Precision Strike or Penetrating Psychic Blast, depending on which little object he devours. My choice for just best common in the set as Storm. Perplex, Outwit, and Prob are all in short supply in this set, and she offers both Flight, Perplex, and just the icing on the cake, free Smoke Cloud to keep her in stealth or your opponents locked down, as I mentioned earlier, improved movement, not in an abundance. So if we do this, if we use both of them, we get 110, 195, leaving us with 105 left. I'll probably just throw on, for the 100 points, Vanisher and Nightcrawler. Vanisher can run up carrying everyone on your team but Storm, but she can fly herself. She can fly up, smoke clouds your entire team, perplex up whoever you feel might be most vulnerable. And John Greycrow can leadership off of Storm and Vanisher, and Cyclops can leadership, well, he can leadership off of anyone, but he could also leadership off anywhere on the within 8, Storm or Nightcrawler. So I think that's what you go with. You have 295, not a theme team, like I said, makes me sad, Panda, but I think it's our best bet in this scenario. It's just a solid team. And sometimes that's really what you have to hope for. Sealed pool number 3. Got another super rare, and this time it is a very good super rare. We have 75-point Quicksilver. There is a prevalence of the X-Men TA in the set, and all of the common original X-Men have that nice little trait where if they are healed through it, they get +1 all their stats until the next turn, except for damage. And he being part of the Avengers Uni Division from Uncanny Avengers, he can use it as a free action after he moves, or after he's given a move action. There's that distinction. So I think we should be running him right away. His amazing ability to use Hypersonic and Flurry within that action is too good to pass up on. I don't think this will be another pool where we're not really able to make a solid theme team, so we're just going to put that on the back burner for now. We have the common Emma Frost, non-prime, who has Perplex, which itself is good at, but if you happen to have an abundance of X-Men, as I don't think her other keywords are that well represented in this set, you can perplex all of the people she shares a keyword with. So, plus Mind Control is quite a powerful ability in this set. Only a few characters are immune to it, notably both Juggernauts and Cameron Hodge. And like I said, if you're smart, you'll avoid using Cameron Hodge like the plague. So, that puts us at 155. We have 145 points left to work with. So how do we flesh this out? I think John Greycrow is the way to go. We might not be able to take full advantage of his leadership with lower point characters, but that running shot, impossible penetrating psychic blast, or precision strike is too good to pass up on. He's just a solid figure. He starts off with low power, so you don't have to worry about pushing him. That leaves us at 95 to go. Or no, 85 to go. We could just run Stonewall. I'm not overly impressed with this character, so I think the best route will be 50-point Colossus and a 30-point Brood. This will be our only... Oh, he doesn't have flights. Oh, well, he's a tie piece. Yeah, not the greatest seal pool, but this is how I would have personally built it. If you feel differently, please mention in the comments. I'm always up for learning new viewpoints and how I can make my sealed skills improve. Sealed pool number 4, and it's a doozy. We get both our first chase and our first prime. And I think we will be running them. Ah, crap. Can't quite run a theme team with it. X23, if she was 5 points cheaper, exactly 300, would be an ideal team to build. Sadly, I don't think we can go there, though. So we're definitely starting off with the Chase Age of Apocalypse Sunfire. He has flight, decent range at 6, or I guess average range. His special power to deal penetrating damage, and from what I've seen through playing Sealed, there isn't an overabundance of Invincible. The common exception is the 50-point Colossus. But if you deal enough damage to him with that 4, you probably knock him off his Invincible anyways. I think we'll go up with Prime Emma Frost. She's just a solid attacker. One of the few characters with Indom in this set. Outwit, which I said was in short supply, so you definitely want to take advantage of that. And you really have to get up there and hurt her due to her trait that she's only ever going to take 1 damage from range. And like I said, penetrating Psychic Blast, not over an abundance, is even more so for Precision Strike. So that leaves us with 95 points left, and rather than mixing it up with some low-level guys, I think we're just going to throw in a Mega Red. We have someone to carry him up. He's not a character I'm overly impressed with due to his starting stats and only having toughness when you start him off. But I think through this set you're able to carry him up with Sunfire, and I don't. Sadly, if it was the other Emma Frost, we'd have. Or no, she doesn't have TK. But yeah, solid pull just because you lucked out in both the chase and prime departments. Other notable characters would definitely be the X-23 at 100 points. I like her as a character. I'm not in love with her just for the fact 100 seems a little overcosted. She brings a lot to the table in charge and flurry and her free healing, but 100 points just really not the best. Alright, last booster in the first brick, and we get another super rare, along with a solid rare. So, we're definitely going to go with the super rare in Scarlet Witch. Having probability control top dial and precision strike, both abilities you do not see all that commonly in this set, are definitely something you want to look at. Her special ability to turn, or you give her a power action, she gives a friendly or opposing character within range and line of fire her hex token. The opposing character's critical misses are now 2 through 4, and the friendlies are critical hits are 10 through 12. So she's definitely there, and just like her common counterpart, the Rare Storm is quite a deal to mess with. 90 points leadership. She gets energy explosion, and if her and her targets are outside, she gets use precision strike when she hits them. So I definitely think that's looking good so far. Puts us at 165, so 135 left to go. Don't think I can make this a good theme team just because we only have 100 points left of X-Men. And I think you're not solid enough on attackers to really give yourself that point deficit. So I think throwing on Caliban, another amazing transport in this set. So that puts us at 205, leaving us 95 to play with. I think we can just do Lady Mastermind and Cyclops. We'll actually be able to take advantage of Cyclops' leadership ability, which for the most part is awkwardly costed, as he will never be taking off of other X-Men aside from Kitty Pryde, I believe. But you have two characters he can take tokens off of. First turn, Caliban can take up all the guys without the wing symbol. Storm can fly up herself. You can hope to leadership off of Caliban next turn. It's a solid team. Very good outside of not being themed, but we'll make do. Now we move on to our second brick. First case. And we get Omega Red once again. This is interesting because, if my math's correct, we might have a theme team on our hands. I might be way off, though. Let's see. We have 55-point Vertigo. Quite amazing for incapping, keeping your opponents tokened up. And since you can target two of them, along with their special, to either give one of them target -2 defense, or each hit person -1 defense, makes the enemy team easy pickings for your friendly force. You have the Sabretooth. Well, Sabretooth's not bad. Nice cheap attackers. This one does have Battle Fury, which means carrying up there can be a pain in the ass. Not something easily done. That gives us 130. We could do 50 point for Harpoon. 50 points for Arclight. And 65 for Blockbuster. Now this is definitely a pull where I could see you could make a better team just by avoiding theme altogether. But with this, kind of have just a perfect setup for a Marauders theme team. 75 plus 55 plus 65 plus 100. Yep, 295. So just shy of 300, but solid team. We are avoiding using the Storm, which is a figure I don't like to pass up on, but I do love me a theme team. What? Okay. Maybe we'll pull a Super Booster next. Heck. And we do. Malice. Solid 75-point figure. Don't think we'll be able to get a theme team off of this. We're so close on that Freedom Force one, but again, you have to get the perfect pulls, and two, the Freedom Force alone, I believe, are rares. Malice, I think, is definitely one we're going to start off with. 75 points, charge, impervious, possibility of Force Blast or TK, making her a nice little support character too, perplex and shape change. Just an overall great 75, and if she happens to die, she gets to pass on her shape change perplex to someone else. I think we'll follow it up with Storm. Again, personally, I think best common in the set. She just brings so much to the table. It's 125, so 175 left to go. $175. Character I haven't tried personally, but I've been wanting to try, so I think we're going to put him on here as Super Saber. Not a whole lot of hypersonic top dial, and with this hypersonic and Force Blast and free Force Blast afterwards, you really put the hurting on your opponent if you can drive him into that blocking terrain or off a ledge. So it leaves 105 points left. And I think it's probably easiest just to go with 2 50-point pieces. So we'll try Thunderbird and 50-point Brood. This gives us 2 people to carry up our guys, leaving only one to have to move up on his own. Bird is a fine attacker, 50-point generic, solid 5 clicks. Again, this isn't the best team. It's definitely one of the weaker ones in our first pool, but overall, but it's still a solid team. And sometimes that's just the way the world works. Is you got to make do with what you're given. Okay. So we finally might be able to make that theme team again. In fact, I already have the team built. So not too much thought involved. We're building out of one entire booster. But of note, figures in the booster we're not using that are definitely solid. The rare Juggernaut, personally I prefer him over the uncommon one because he starts off with that nice charge. Vanisher, of course, is one of the best taxis in the set. Definitely the cheapest. So I put him right ahead of the super rare Pixie. The uncommon Cyclops, of course, is amazing with his little arc blast. But we're going to go with his regular universe version in this case. We're going to be using the rare Cyclops, the uncommon Wolverine, Colossus, and Nightcrawler. Even 300-point X-Men theme team. You have solid attackers in all of them. It's going to be a little bit slow going on just because you have no one to carry your team, but that +4 effectively giving you have 3 probs that you just can use if need be. I think it's fine. There's a decent amount of blocking and hindering to at least keep yourselves relatively safe until you have to go in for that attack. So yeah, like I say, I'm a sucker for theme teams. Definitely could be wrong in that building, but what are you gonna do? Oh, great, a broke figure. So, our rares, super rares being Rogue and Brood Queen. Definitely both solid pieces. Here, I'm wondering, this might just be a little bit stupid. I think just we're going to go with an X-Men theme team. It'll end up being 280 points. So within that 30-point threshold I like to keep personally when it comes to making name theme teams. We're going to do 150-point Rogue, 80 points Emma Frost, and the 50-point Cyclops. Can't take advantage of his leadership, but oh well. It does have a chance to give that team prop. And you just have a powerhouse with a stop, click, and Rogue. And if it comes to it, she can always just keep pushing to use her X-Men team ability to heal the other two characters, and you're going to keep everyone perplexed up with Emma. So, a little bit short, but 20 points is a short that I'm well happy to take. Ooh. Now we get to the stupid pool. The person who, if they play their cards correctly, they're going to just win. I'm planning on doing a follow-up video to talk about the meta implications of this set, but in this figure will definitely be talked about the super rare Iceman. He is fantastic. He is just the best points per powers per whatever. He's just amazing. So we're definitely running him, and I'm sure we're done running our Rare Prime Sunfire. Puts us at 130 points, leaving us with 70 points to work with. We've got a 60-point Warpath. We have an X-Men theme team, 290 points, so we're well within our range. I would like to run the Rare Angel, but it just puts us over. And I think we really can't avoid running these two guys. They're too good. If he was 70 points, he'd be right smack dab there with him, but no. We're going with these two guys. We have a Pulse Waver, which, as far as I know, there's only 3 in the sets with the top dial, both Rare Sunfires and Riptide, and Riptide's kind of as a Pulse Waver. You can never really do a nice single target Pulse Wave for a bunch of damage, unless you have a bunch of Perplex on him. So yeah, we've got a solid 290-point theme team. Iceman will keep him locked down. You have a Close Combat Beast and Warpath. He hinders their X-Men team ability. And you've got 2 flyers to keep your team carried across the map. Yeah, this was definitely the stupidest pull so far. Pull I would love to see. Moving on to the second case. And a character we have not yet seen, the Rare Professor X. How I said Outwit is few and far between. Well, he's one of the better Outwitters you can get for 50 points. He can use regular Outwit, or he can use as a power action, not leading line of fire, and the power stays countered, or they get this little token, which means the power stays countered as long as they're within his range, which is a whopping 10. Add to that, he's got Mind Control, and you just have a really solid piece to pull and play on this team. That being said, I don't think we're able to scrounge out a nice theme team, so I think we're going to go for just a nice, well-rounded team. We'll definitely start with Professor X at 50. There's 250 left. I think as a nice starting off attacker, we'll go with John Greycrow. Oh, he's 70 points. Oh, I've been reading him wrong. Still fantastic. All right. 130 points. Storm to carry up some people. Puts us at 180. 120 left. 120 left. I think we'll go with Vanisher to carry up the entire team, and Super Saber, someone who can zip in and out, picking off your opponents. Not a theme team, but in this case, I don't think it'll matter. Okay, got ourselves another prime. Mind you, this was 2 bricks, so these aren't 2 cases, so these were not pulled in the same case. But I definitely think we're going to be running her, the Prime Phoenix. The closest thing to a one-man army in this set, but thankfully, given that 50-point gap, you can easily squeeze someone in this set. And I think in this case, we'll go with my second choice of common, Colossus. She can carry him around. He has move and attack. Cyclops does have the possibility of prob, but I wouldn't put too much into it. And Wolverine can just get knocked out in a single turn. I've seen it done. So I don't think there's too much thinking going on in this one. Cyclops just solid, ends with that nice stop click with 19 ESD and Impervious. It's going to be really hard to take her down. And if it comes to it, I would say just start burning up your X-Men heals through Colossus. Alright. That already looked disappointing because we probably can't make a theme team. But we're going to start off with the Super Rare Quicksilver again. He's just too solid for 75 points. I think we'll follow it up with Emma Frost. So that puts us at 155, 145 left to build with. While it's not a theme team, I think we'll follow with X-23. She's one of those most solid attackers, especially out of this pool. So 45 to work with. Speaking of Pulse Wave from before, we'll go with Riptide. Get him up there, he can do a decent amount of damage. And he's a character you really don't have to worry about losing all that well. And he can boost his stats if it actually comes to it with that nice little Mutant Massacre trait. Ooh, a super we have not seen yet, and definitely one I want to talk about. This is one I wouldn't fault anyone if they decide to play him at either point value. I probably won't ever decide to play Proteus at his 200 point value in sealed. He is a nice attacker, but his starting stats for 200 points are just really mediocre. While they do get better later on, I want my guys to be really good top tile, and I think it's just better to try and run him on his 35 points, possessing another character 100 points or less. And I think we have an ideal target in the all-new X-Men Cyclops. Definitely giving him 4 damage and 12 attack running shot. With his little arc power seems really good. So that puts us at 135. And I think we can throw on 115 point Wolverine. Sure, he can't be possessed, but he's just a solid figure. And honestly, if you position your guys well enough, getting Proteus to the best optimal position to then get Pulse Wave as soon as he gets to his stop, once the last person dies and he reverts to his true form. And 50-point Colossus. Not a theme team, but with what we got, I think it's pretty damn solid. Last 2 out of this brick, and oh, it's another Sunfire. And oh, we're gonna run. Well, no theme team screams to me. I think I like trying out the Bird Queen this time. with her leadership, it's nice to keep your Sunfire free of tokens, not have to worry about pushing himself. Although with Sunfire, I would suggest not worrying about it too much, as he gets that Pulse Wave later dial, and everyone he hits with his special Pulse Wave, you get to heal for each hit character, friendly or opposing, so it's going to be a lot to take him down. Puts it at 170 with 130 left to play with. So 130. No definite 30-point character run with a nice Jean Grey, all new X-Men to get that Perplex. So I think we're going to go with the rare Nightcrawler. It's a nice character to carry around. Get him within range. 70 points left. And we'll get another close combat attacker out of Blockbuster. And leadership off any of them, so you don't have to worry too much about being tokened up. Moving on to our last brick, and why not start with a Prime? So, Prime Emma Frost yet again. Super solid figure. We want Outwit. You got it in her. Leaves us with 175 to go. 175. Well, you could get more characters on a team. This will put you within that range. And this does give you probs, so I think just going with the rare Sabretooth and the Common Storm is the best way to go. We could run Warpath and Wolverine, but I'm not overly impressed with their combat abilities. This one, I'm kind of conflicted. I think this might be the best build, but if you were to replace Sabretooth with Wolverine and Warpath, would be understandable. That would push you closer to closing that gap up a little bit. So, yeah, either of those two. And it's a theme team regardless. Next up, we get Mr. Sinister. And from what I see here, I think we're going to be able to go for Marauders theme team. We're going to start off with Mr. Sinister at 95. He's got leadership. Take all those tokens off of your fellow Marauders. Bring in Blockbuster. Brings it up to 160, 140 left. Riptide and Lady Mastermind at 45. Bring us at 90 points. And we finished up with Prism. And that'll put us at 160, 250, 285. 15 points short, but that's well within that gap of acceptability. So, yeah. Again, this might not be easily one where you could make a better team, especially with the Rare Storm. Along with Mr. Sinister. But I think just having a theme team is enough to putting a pretty good figure on the sideline. Not literally. Okay. Well, we have another solid bomb in Dark Angel. 200 points. Figure I don't think we can avoid using. It's just too good for the points. And with that, I think we'll... Oh, another figure. The regular 50 points Sunfire. Pulse Wave just too good. And I think to round it out, to give us those running shot guys some reach, we'll throw in the 50-point Magneto for TK, and you got your team. The double Juggernaut pool. Sadly, there are only 2 X-Men. In terms of making a theme team, there are the Rare Juggernaut and Common Storm, and we're still short 130 points worth of X-Men. So I don't think we're going to build it there. But I do see another theme we could go for, being Brotherhood of Mutants, one that you don't see all that often. And let's see how this works out. 150-point Juggernaut. Oh wow, fits perfectly. 50-point Magneto, 40-point Vanisher, 60-point Mystique. Exactly 300. It's a solid team. Vanisher carries up everyone on the team. Mystique can leadership off of everyone but Juggernaut. You have a nice close combat attacker that Magneto can TK into perfect position. Mystique can be a nice little tie-up piece. And if need be, Vanisher gets probability later in his dial. So, yeah, that worked out surprisingly well. We're moving on to our last sealed pool. And we might have another X-Men theme team on our hands. We again have the Stellar Rogue, except this time I don't think we're going to play her at her 150-point version. It's definitely on the table, but if we play her at 90, that puts us up to 170. Angel brings us up to 245, and then we can throw on the 50-point Cyclops. Unless my math's incorrect, I believe that's... Yep, 295. So I think yes, all team there. Of course, you can interchange Cyclops or Nightcrawler depending on your personal preference, but I'd rather take the range guys than Nightcrawler's iffy close combat attack power. So that was it. We went through 40 boosters, total of 20 different seal pools. Some were great, some not so great. Not as many, I would just say, were just completely terrible. They were definitely playable seals. I definitely think that's something you're going to see a lot of in this set. The point values work fairly well. We have a lot of common named themed keywords within the set, making theme teams quite easier than previous sets. So I think that's definitely something to keep on your mind while you're building for the next following weeks in your Uncanny X-Men seals. If you'd like to see more of these, please leave it in the comments. I also think we might possibly be experimenting with some mixed seals, just as a nice little primer in preparation for Worlds, which happens in a little over a month from now. So if you would like to see that, please let us know. We'll find a way to pick up some World's Finest, as if we assume they're doing at last year's Worlds as a repeat for this year's Worlds. It'll be 3 of World's Finest and 3 of Uncanny X-Men, and you have to make 3 300-point SEAL teams for you and your 2 team members. And we'll probably also, like I said, the next video will be based on the standard implications of Uncanny X-Men and what you expect to see. Both, actually, no, it'll just be post-rotation. The next tournament we have is next weekend, which will be the last regionals, which will be the last time we use our current 300 modern meta. So I'm not really going to base this next video on how to affect our current meta, but the meta that'll roll around as of June 1st. So keep that in mind when you're expecting the next video. And hope you guys have a wonderful day, and remember, Aliacta Est, the die has been cast.